Recording in progress.
Sergeant Rasmussen, we're ready to go. Judy's hugging people, Rasmussen's running around the building. All right. All right, good morning, everyone.
He is a runner.
He is a jogger, that is fair. All right. Regent, I think we're up to you, Regent Frederick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the board, which dissolved into executive session at 9:45 a.m. on Wednesday, April 1st, to consult with legal counsel and discuss personnel matters, pending and prospective litigation, contractual matters, and marketing or price strategies by a board of a business owned by the state when public discussion may be harmful to the competitive position of the business before rising from executive session at 4 p.m. While in executive session, the board discussed the matters just described, which included certain recommended actions as set forth in the Secretary's report and other matters permitted by law. I move that the board approve the recommended actions as set forth in the Secretary's report and that it publish said report and official actions in the formal meetings of this meeting.
Second.
You got through that. All right. Having been moved and seconded, all in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I apologize for my absence yesterday morning for a little bit. My real job required my attendance, and that's the one that pays, so I thought I should be there. President Griffiths, we're ready for you to come up and say a few words. Good morning. And thank you for having us. I think we should get padding on those seats back there in the upper level for the people who are sitting on the steps. I'm getting to see a lot of nodding heads. More from the older folks, not from the younger folks. Don't care.
Thank you very much. So the record I'm Ray Griffiths, the president of Dakota State University, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome the regents back to Dakota State. We're always pleased to have you here. And a lot has changed since you were last here. A lot of things with technology, a lot of things in our research activities. So we thought we would show you through a video. So we have made a video to highlight some of the recent changes in our activities.
Excellent.
Well, I've never been more excited about DSU and our future of preparing students to go out there and make a meaningful impact. What I see happening right now is I see a bunch of innovative programs and majors that are available for students. And in all of them, we are infusing technology in a very intentional and deliberate way. So that way our graduates are prepared to go out there and make a difference in South Dakota and throughout the region.
It's really incredible to get to hear from our faculty and students about how the relationships they build really impacts them. It can be years later that a student can connect back with their faculty, and they tell me these stories, and it's really inspiring. Students come back and they say, "You told me this one thing in class, and I got inspired and I really dug into it. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to tinker with it. I wanted to ask more questions." Faculty and students really get to connect.
DSU students throughout the years have spent a lot of time building up a strong club culture on campus, and part of that culture are really hyper-focused clubs, not just on computers in general, but offensive security, defensive security, competing in capture the flags, artificial intelligence, whatever it may be. There's a specific club for all of those areas.
CTF competitions, they're called Capture the Flag, where in the cybersecurity industry, you're given vulnerable systems which have flags in them that you have to go and find.
And so I'm trying to get that information, and I'm pretty sure I'm on the right thing, but it keeps giving me the wrong answer. Yeah,
I knew I had the answer. It was just, so CTFs oftentimes, some CTFs, they require a specific format for the answer. Even though you have the answer, some letters need to be capital, you need to have it in the flag format.
which one did you try? Right now I tried RV64GC, and then I tried RV332, which is perfectly the wrong answer, but I'm pretty sure I've got the right answer. Can I have one more try? RV64, but without the GC.
And my team was just like, maybe don't try it, but I'm like, no, I know I can do this, and I know I've got the answer, it's just I've got the format wrong.
Got it. Oh my lord. It was risky. It was this one. Cool. Good job.
What's cool is we've been able to build up financial support on the institution side to pay for those students to go participate in a lot of competitions around the country, and I think even outside of the country in some cases. That's just a really neat opportunity because it's mostly driven by competitions the students want to do. They've built up those skills internal to their clubs, and then they're competing, representing themselves and the university very well.
So just 4 years ago, Dakota State University had 0 apprenticeships. We had 0 apprentices that were registered. We had 0 programs. And right now we are the leading sponsor. So that's like a business or a college or a university, whatever you are, in the whole entire state of South Dakota. We've registered over 300 apprentices. And what that means is we have South Dakotans that are earning while they're learning in areas where the organization wants to grow their own workforce. So for what we're doing at DSU, we have teacher apprentices, we have paraprofessional apprentices, and we have cyber apprentices. I'm really excited about our youth apprenticeship pathways that we have right now because it's giving high school kids between the ages of 16 and before they graduate real life experiences in our paraprofessional apprenticeship pathway of working with kids, in our cyber apprenticeship pathway of working with their school district's IT department and working on software and hardware in their school districts.
How do you get maybe high school students who really know that they want to teach and they can start in this apprenticeship program? We have been learning a lot about Gen Z and how they don't value education, higher education, the way we perhaps have in the past. They really want to get a return on their investment. So the idea of apprenticeship as a way to get started is really attractive to them because they can start in it right away. They can be doing the work right away, but getting the education as well along the way.
They're taking our online classes to earn a certificate in either the Gateway to Teacher Education certificate or the Governor's Cyber Academy program that we have. So we have high school kids that are current students, dual credit students, that are prospective students, full-time students at DSU in just a couple years.
Governor Governor Cyber Academy was launched specifically to get education in computer science, cyber, AI, we even have an introductory class in quantum computing. Students in rural areas of South Dakota can take those classes through the Governor Cyber Academy. We've removed a lot of the barrier of the cost, thanks to the state funding that. And it's been a program that has been highly successful.
All right, turn head right.
It allows South Dakota K-12 students, and particularly high school students, to have exposure to fields that they might not otherwise have exposure to. And it also then gives them an opportunity to complete up to 30 credits in highly technical courses. So when they come to DSU or another Board of Regents institution, they already have some of that technical work under their belt.
And under Dean David DeYoung's leadership, it is just flourishing. And we are so excited that we are bringing in Dr. Trent Dawson to come and lead that effort. It's such an interesting thing because he has such a unique background, and the Governor Cyber Academy is so unique. When we met him, we're like, how in the world does somebody have exactly all the experience we need to come and lead that effort? And he is somebody who has that experience. We're so excited to have him come and just take us to the next level with the Governor Cyber Academy.
DSU is really unique in that technology and artificial intelligence are embedded throughout the entire campus, not just in one department. And that's using AI tools to help analyze or think about projects. It also means that our faculty are at the forefront of developing artificial intelligence. They're building the architecture, the frameworks, the models in machine learning and computer science, and they're really developing what's going to be next in AI.
In 1984, when Dakota State was given a mission change, it was focused really on technology. And as the technology evolves, we evolve how that technology is infused in everything we do. Right now, the foundation is computer science, which is the foundation of artificial intelligence. Every college on campus is infusing artificial intelligence into their curriculum. We want to be AI leading, and in AI leading space, you can't teach history or math or English or special education without understanding the basics of AI and how to apply it in your field.
The future of every single job is going to include some aspect of artificial intelligence. And I truly appreciate how at DSU, we are training people how to think about using AI appropriately. We start by making sure that our students are thinking first, and then they're learning how to use AI and which AI product to use. And then they're closing the learning loop by thinking again as a human.
Education informs research. Research informs education. And that's why we want our faculty engaged in both teaching and in research. And right now, the ways that our faculty are being innovative in the classroom and in research in AI is amazing.
The research here makes you really truly understand the technology, first off, because it's a very applied. What we do here is very applied in nature. It's not just like purely theoretical. That kind of idea of research here, that kind of way that we do research, where it's this very applied thing, allows us then to share things with a level of knowledge that most people can't, because they don't worry about the technology, they don't worry about the code, they don't worry about like what's actually happening behind the scenes, other than a purely theoretical way.
In the Mad Labs, we have several projects that are working to keep South Dakota secure. Our Digital Forensics Lab for cyber enforcement. We work with 110 different local, state, federal, tribal partners on cyber forensic investigations. And Will and Eli are two brilliant people who are working to help investigate cyber crimes that occur in South Dakota. With SecureSD, Mike Waldner is leading that effort to help secure and protect the local governments of South Dakota. In Project Boundary Fence, we have Rain and Noah, who are doing great work performing internal, external penetration tests for local governments across South Dakota. All of these projects have interns that are working with our full-time people. And so our students are getting a heck of an experience, hands-on keyboard, working to help protect our state. And they believe in the mission. And so it's really neat to see that. You know, everything we do in the Mad Labs is coming from a position of need for our state. And so to see our students working in that area, it's pretty rewarding to provide an opportunity for them.
Our students are engaged in research across the state to help small towns, to help small businesses prevent cyber attacks.
SBS Cybersecurity basically came to DSU for AI Bagel Time and had proposed several different projects, ideas, problems that they wanted students to solve. All of us on this team had really gravitated towards this deepfake educational materials where basically they wanted us to build some sort of module to show and highlight the risks of deepfakes and that they could bring to other companies and use it basically as some sort of like training.
So this is Deepface Live. It's the open source repo that my team and I worked with. It's completely free, easy to download straight off of GitHub. A few things to make note of here is our camera source. Right now we're just using the webcam of our laptop, so the integrated webcam of the laptop. And then you can see a few of these modules here, like face detector, face aligner. Basically, these are the parts that are finding, locating your face, and then through various points like your eyes, nose, and mouth, it is going to create a mesh to use then later on when we actually want to swap our face. Over on this side then, we can see a bunch of the different options, right? We can do Face Swap Insight, Face Animator, Face Swap DFM, which are basically just a bunch of preloaded models that we have to change into whoever we want. Right now I'm Elon Musk, but we can go ahead and change that to Vin Diesel. And after a few seconds here, it will then start up another output, where now I am Vin Diesel, but with a lot of hair. If we go from there, we can then from the stream output create a window like so, where then it is basically this pop out. And from this window, we can use some software called OBS to create a virtual camera. And from that virtual camera, we can import it into any sort of Zoom meeting, any sort of software conference calls, online like Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, etc. So one instance, I could be Vin Diesel in one of these Zoom calls, and then I could hop onto another, and all of a sudden I am going to be Elon Musk in another. But really, you might be targeting real actors, real people, real victims.
When we started, we didn't really think anything was going to come of it, but just being here at DSU, opportunities just open up to you like a crazy amount, just knowing your professors, knowing who they are. And so when Dr. Mark Spanier eventually, emailed us about this opportunity with CAPE, we were like, whoa, like we have to do it. Like this is a free trip to DC. This is a way that we get to see kind of, the world in a new light. All these different things opened up to us, at least in terms of opportunities, just because of like one simple idea and like how we kind of took it and built it into something way more important.
I can't say enough how much I appreciate that Dakota State knows who we are and where we're going. And that includes creating cyber savvy graduates in all of the different majors that we have to make sure that they are prepared for not the challenges of today, but the challenges of the future.
Visibly, you can see our development across campus, from the dome to the Beetle Hall renovation to the Cadaver Lab. We're really investing in the campus.
Every semester, I believe for about 12 years, we have had enrollment growth. We have such a niche of what we do, and we have become nationally known, regionally known, but now we are also internationally known.
We've had a number of people from higher education to business and industry tell us that our students leave DSU entirely industry ready. They're ready on day one. They don't need training. They don't need 6 weeks in a preparation course. They're ready to sit down in their chair and get to business.
We have quite a bit that's happening on campus, and it really is helping all aspects of life, from medical to school to commerce and transportation.
I think DSU can be the technology-focused institution because our faculty are at the forefront of technology. not just teaching the theory or aspects of it, but truly using it because it excites them as well. They're passionate also about integrating technology and learning new ways to use it or apply it as well.
I think that says it much better than I could. When we first knew you were coming here, we talked about the demonstrating it for our representatives and their staffs on the in Washington. And we thought about doing a live deepfake experiment with you, but we thought you might not appreciate it. So we decided to put it on video. But this is just a selection. There's so much going on this campus. It amazes me every day. I find out what faculty are doing and what our students are doing. So we hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you again for, you have to stay there for just a minute. Thank you again for hosting us. Before you sneak away, since this will be the last meeting, you'll be president of the campus. Before you transition to your new role, we wanted to recognize you today. We have a resolution here recognizing all your accomplishments. I'm not going to read it because we'll be here until 3 o'clock. But I do want to say, President Griffiths, thank you for your service here. The things you have done on this campus have taken us to the next level, a national level. Your vision of the Mad Labs and the Cyber Lab in Sioux Falls are just next level. I don't know how much we could say we appreciate all you've done for this campus. I know other regions would like to say a few remarks, and then we're going to give you a big round of applause and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, and I got on the Regents, I remember asking President Griffiths, you know, how many of your degrees, specialties, or areas at DSU involve cyber? And she looked at me like, you are so dumb. All of them. Oh, that makes sense. You're the cyber school. So it is just fantastic. But that is not without hard work, and it's not without making it happen, and it's not without fostering a team to help make that happen. And so it was really nice to see some of the folks at DSU really engaged and working as part of your team here. And so it's a constant, diligent thing to really work on, and it shows. And so we really appreciate that, and thank you for all of your efforts.
Any other comments? Representative Regent Beacom.
Thank you, President Rave. President Griffiths, I just want to say thank you to not only you, but the entire team you have at Dakota State. If you go back a decade and you look at where we were and where we're at today, it's night and day. And the passion from the team here, the faculty team here at Dakota State, and you see it in the passion from the students as well. And the students here are prepared, and your placement rates are phenomenal. And that just shows that we're giving the students the tools to be successful in the future. And the change that you've made, again, it's incredible where we were 10 years ago and where we're at today. And we can't underestimate that, and we just need to continue to do that within all of our universities to make sure that we're providing the students those tools so every business out there, every school out there wants those students in immediately. And then you're right, the time to train, I love bringing interns in and hiring individuals from Dakota State because they are prepared. And again, congratulations to you and thank you to you and your entire team. What you've done over the last decade plus is just incredible, so thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, Regent Dittman.
Well, I had the privilege of being a part of the beginning of what you created, and I certainly couldn't have been happier and more excited about what occurred, not only academically. You know, you were telling me we're going to put in all these PhDs, and I'm going, okay, how are we paying for these? And you kept telling me, don't worry about it. And so you found a way to make it all happen. And the things that have happened athletically, of course, I spent a lot of my years at this institution involved in athletics. And people have asked me, did you ever think you'd see the facility that Dakota State has now? And I said, not in my lifetime. No, I did not. So congratulations. The things that you've done for this campus have truly been phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Dittman. Anyone else? All right, with that, two things, go ahead, please, President Rose.
If I might just say, it has been an honor and a pleasure. It is a team sport. It's no single person, but a group of people who have open minds and look at the future and think about how it might change and not be bound by, we can't do it because, to try and find a way together is the way we were able to move forward. So this institution, everybody was very open, not only here, the people in Madison and the people in Sioux Falls have supported us in this move. So thank you all very, very much for this opportunity, which has been great.
Well, thank you. And two things. One, we're going to give you a big round of applause here in a second. And after that, the fun part is we have to go take a picture, which is my favorite. So we'll go over there. But let's recognize President Griffiths.
Next up on our agenda is the Student Organization Awards. Dr. Janice Miner, if you'll help us with that, right?
Good morning. I get the pleasure to share with you the annual recipients for the Student Organization Awards. There will be 3 awards at each of the campuses award based on student nominations and then approval by those nominations.
Dr. Minder?
Yes.
I'm going to ask that you pause for
Be happy to.
about 97 seconds.
Okay.
And we're all going to go take a picture with
All right.
President Griffiths. Hold that thought.
Did you make 97 seconds?
Okay. And the update from the picture is that President Ray wants to be Tom Cruise and Regent Lochner wants hair.
For the
So
deep
far,
fake.
that's what
There we
DSU,
go.
that's what we're looking for. Carry on, Dr. Miner, thank you.
All right. Also for the record, Janice Minder with the Board of Regents in the Academic Affairs area. Again, this is an annual approval for the awards nominated by the students and awarded by the students. These recipients, while we award them at this meeting each year for our annual year 2025, the universities then will recommend or represent them at their board meetings. So today you'll see the 2024 and the 2025 recognition by DSU due to the timing of when the board last met. But in essence, you're approving all of the future board meetings when the SAC member comes up, Student Affairs Council member comes up and represents, and you get pictures, you're awarding that today. So there's 3 areas: academic excellence, community service, and organizational leadership. So with that, I would be happy to stand by for any questions. This is more of a formal, just approving the list.
Are there any questions? Dr. Minder can answer them. Any question, actually.
I can sure try.
Okay.
You'll need a motion.
Who has it?
Katie, who does this one? President?
No, you go ahead. Do I have a motion? Yes.
Oh.
From Vice President Frederick.
Let me get it up to the right one. I move to accept the recommendations offered by each institution for student organization awards and announce the names of the award winners.
Abby Moose made the motion and seconded. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passes. Okay, now we're.
All right, very good. Thank you so much. Amy Chrissinger, Vice President for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management here at Dakota State University. It is my pleasure to recognize our outstanding student organizations with these awards. Before I do, I'd like to take a quick moment to acknowledge each club and organization that contributes to the vibrant DSU experience. Each of those groups, through their dedication of their members and the guidance of their advisors, play a vital role in building community, fostering leadership, and enriching our campus life. Their commitment, creativity, and collaboration make a lasting impact, and DSU is stronger because of all they do. As Dr. Minder mentioned, we'll be starting with our 2024-2025 award winners. So first up, for DSU Award for Academic Excellence, the Tri Beta Biological Honor Society. Accepting for Tri Beta is Derek Moreno, Madison Clark, Caleb Shaw, Emily Steins, Kiera Miller, and their advisor, Andrew Sadhoff. The purpose of Tri Beta is to promote a deeper understanding and appreciation of biological study, inspire students to achieve scholarly excellence in the life sciences, and extend the boundaries of human knowledge through scientific research. They do this through hosting various speakers and inviting back alumni to share their experiences since leaving DSU. The group also works with various K-12 schools to bring science to their classrooms, especially for those schools that do not have the resources to bring hands-on learning to their students. We get a good crowd for this group today, so it takes a minute to get organized. While they're doing that, I'll go on to the DSU Award for Community Service, which is Pi Beta Kappa. With them today, Caden Gortmaker and advisor Kyle Cronin. They're here to accept their award. Pi Beta Kappa aims to promote and cultivate the values of sportsmanship, scholarship, selflessness, and servitude among its members, while providing opportunities for them to form lifelong bonds and give back to the local community through philanthropic efforts in partnership with various volunteering organizations. During the 24-25 school year, Pi Beta Kappa organized several volunteer opportunities in Madison and Sioux Falls, such as serving at the banquet 2 times, helping the Madison Public Library with their story walk and lawn cleanup, and working with the local food pantry to deliver food boxes and gifts around the holidays. So thank you to Pi Beta for their DSU Award for Community Service. And next up, the 24-25 Award for Organizational Leadership is the Cyber Club. To accept Cyber's award, we have Michaela Fluth and advisor Kanti Narakanda. The DSU Cyber Club aims to empower, motivate, and educate collegiate women in STEM and cybersecurity while fostering an inclusive and supportive community. The club members support and encourage others through volunteering and mentorship while also receiving opportunities to enhance their technical and personal skills with workshops, guest speakers, and conferences. In 24-25, members of the Cyber Club represented DSU at national competitions and conferences. Their members lead by example, volunteering their time to mentor others while enhancing their cybersecurity expertise. Congratulations to Cyber, and congratulations to all of our 24-25 award winners.
Let's give them a round of applause. always like to hear the stuff that, students are doing. It's just fantastic.
It is. It's
You guys
wonderful.
are an inspiration. You really are. Thank you for all your hard work.
Now on to our 2025-2026 award winners. First up this year is DSU Award for Academic Excellence, and that goes to our Future Business Leaders of America. Here to accept their award is advisor Dan Talley. FBLA has made a strong contribution to the academic environment on campus by giving students opportunities to apply what they learn in class to real-world business situations. One of the main academic contributions of FBLA is student participation in leadership conferences and competitive events. Members attended the Fall Leadership Conference and the State Leadership Conference, where they took part in workshops, case studies, and business-related competitions. FBLA also strengthened the academic environment by providing access to guest speakers and professional networking opportunities. Through leadership development, academic competitions, and professional exposure, FBLA has created meaningful opportunities for students to grow academically and to prepare for future careers. Congratulations to them. Next up, the DSU Award for Community Service is the Cyber Club. So we have a repeat, and to accept their award, we have Michaela Fluth again and their advisor, Kanti Narakanda. This year, the Cyber Club continued to expand its community service to inspire the next generation of cybersecurity learners. While community service has always been a part of the Cyber Club's involvement with their institute, this year brought new opportunities for the Cyber Club to support their growing programs. As the Cyber Institute expanded its mission to incorporate both digital and in-person learning environments while maintaining a safe and supportive environment for K-12 girls in cybersecurity, the need for community service to support its growing programs grew. The Cyber Club volunteers played a vital role in helping the Cyber Institute's programs run smoothly. Congratulations to you. And finally, the DSU Award for Organizational Leadership goes to Tri Beta Biological Honor Society, another repeat for us. And accepting for them, we have Derek Moreno, Madison Clark, Caleb Shaw, Emily Steins, Kiera Miller, and advisor Andrew Sathoff. Tri Beta set high expectations for itself this year. After all of last year's leaders graduated, they had to rebuild their club from scratch. Their goal was not only to revive Tri Beta, but to grow it into a strong, community-driven organization that develops future leaders. Their leadership showed in the planning and execution of many large activities. For one of their main events last year, they organized and led ELISA simulations at Scrubs Camp and Women in Science, hosted lab learning and their two-part Grow and Glow homeschool lab discovery days, and they developed programming for Sanford Promise community lab events like Research in Action and Find Your Roots Camp. These events required delegation, scheduling, budgeting, communication, and preparation, all led by their officers. Congratulations to DSU's 2025-2026 award winners.
Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And I want to learn what ELISA is. So you got to teach me that someday. Thank you. All right. We're up to faculty awards, our item on the agenda here for faculty recognition. Rebecca.
Good morning. I'm Rebecca Hoy, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs at Dakota State, and it is my great pleasure to recognize 4 exemplary faculty members who are receiving awards this year. Each year, Dakota State University proudly recognizes faculty whose dedication, excellence, and impact reach far beyond the classroom. These awards celebrate the core values of DSU's mission, including outstanding advising and mentorship, innovative research, exceptional teaching, and meaningful service to DSU and the community. The awards are named after individuals who shaped both the university and Madison through their leadership, scholarship, and generosity. Their legacy and commitment to DSU continues to inspire excellence across campus. This year, the Merrill Hunter Award for Excellence in Research is presented to Dr. Alex DeCecchi for his contributions to vertebrate paleontology and his innovative work on the locomotion of ancient theropods. His research includes a first author publication proposing a new flap running method of transportation for theropods and additional publications in leading journals such as Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, often through international collaborations. At DSU, Dr. Duchecki fosters a strong research culture by integrating current paleontological discoveries and emerging technologies into his teaching. He actively mentors student research, guiding projects that have been presented at international conferences and the DSU Research Symposium. Through his scholarship and mentorship, Dr. Duchecki has helped inspire the next generation of scientific researchers. Congratulations to Dr. Alex Duchecki. I told him I had to practice saying paleontological many, many times in order to get that one right. The Ernest T. Garden Award for Excellence in Teaching is presented to Dr. Vicki Johnson, Associate Professor of Sociology, for her sustained commitment to innovative, student-centered instruction and her measurable impact on student success. Dr. Johnson's courses combine experiential learning and emerging technology, incorporating activities such as simulations, deepfake analysis, and immersive experiences like the Hunger Banquet to connect sociological theory with real-world issues. Her teaching effectiveness is reflected in consistently exceptional student evaluations, with many courses receiving perfect scores and national IDEA ratings in the highest performance category. Beyond the classroom, she mentors students across disciplines, including serving on doctoral dissertation committees in cybersecurity and cyber defense, helping students connect technical research to broader social and ethical contexts. Through her innovative pedagogy, mentorship, and leadership, Dr. Johnson has strengthened DSU's learning environment and inspired student engagement across the university. Congratulations to Dr. Vicki Johnson. I didn't see her. Likely she has a class right now and she is going to prioritize her students over coming over to receive an award, and that would be exactly like Dr. Johnson.
Excused.
Thank you. I'll tell her that. The Dwayne Moore Award for Excellence in Service is presented to Dr. Kevin Smith, Associate Professor of Mathematics Education, for excellence in service for his outstanding commitment to student engagement and community outreach. Dr. Smith co-founded and advises the Educators Rising Club, creating leadership and professional development opportunities for aspiring teachers. And he has led the DSU Teach Camp for 9 consecutive years, connecting DSU students with more than 400 practicing educators. His outreach extends across the region, including visits to 25 classrooms where he engaged over 6,000 students in interactive mathematics experiences that promote learning and inspire future educators. Dr. Smith also strengthens DSU's professional presence through leadership roles with the South Dakota Council of Teachers of Mathematics and the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, while delivering presentations and keynote addresses that reach thousands of students and educators. Through sustained leadership, statewide engagement, and dedication to students, Dr. Smith exemplifies the spirit of this award. Congratulations to Dr. Kevin Smith. Good, okay. Last, the Alexander Davidson Award for Excellence in Advising and Mentorship is presented to Dr. Kurt Kemper, Professor of History, for his transformative leadership of the General Beadle Honors Program and his dedication to student success. As Honors Program Director, Dr. Kemper advises and mentors more than 150 honors students, guiding them through academic planning, thesis development, and research presentations while maintaining the program's rigorous scholarly standards. He also created and teaches the Honors Artificial Intelligence course, ensuring that honors students graduate with strong analytical and technological competencies aligned with DSU's mission. Beyond advising, Dr. Kemper strengthens the university's scholarly environment through leadership of the honors curriculum, national engagement with the National Collegiate Honors Council, and hosting the 2026 Regional Honors Conference at DSU. Through his mentorship, academic leadership, and commitment to student achievement, Dr. Kemper has elevated the honors program experience and strengthened the academic culture of Dakota State University. Congratulations to Dr. Kurt Kemper. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, and congratulations. You're producing our future. So thank you for that very much. It's awesome. Next up is individual reports from presidents.
Dr. Lefebvre is up.
Dr. Lefebvre would like to share how good the Board of Regents is publicly. Okay, awesome.
Good morning, Dr. Lefebvre.
Good morning, President Ray, members of the board. Thank you for allowing me to take a moment to recognize a longstanding and valuable member of our Northern leadership team. Veronica Paulson will be retiring at the end of this academic year, and we're so grateful for her service. We have a special resolution prepared, which I won't read through in detail, but I thought I would hit on just a couple of highlights of Veronica's amazing career. 35 years at Northern State. She really led through complex landscapes, ensuring our fiscal stability, long-term viability through meticulous budgeting and strategic planning. She works behind the scenes, directly enhancing the student experience by modernizing living and learning spaces, ensuring that the campus environment matched the high academic standards of the institution. And just as an example of a few of the major projects Veronica has overseen during her tenure and provided financial oversight for these projects: the Johnson Fine Arts Center renovation, construction of the Jewett Regional Science Education Center, construction of the Dakota Bank Stadium, construction of the Keeler Hall of Fame softball field, and construction of the athletic and recreation fields, demolition of the historic Jurdy Hall, demolition and construction of facilities for the South Dakota School for the Blind and Visually Impaired, construction of 3 residence halls, and construction of the Business and Health Innovation Center. She's going to be missed, and I know she's watching because she's been texting us this morning. So on behalf of all of us at Northern State University, thank you to Veronica Paulson, and I'd like to recognize her at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Lefebvre. Veronica, if you're listening, you've been such an important part of Northern for such a very long time, and you will be missed, and appreciate all you have done for that university and frankly for the whole Regental system. So best wishes to you, Veronica. I'm sad you're not here to have to take a picture with me, but no, in all seriousness, thank you for your service. You will be missed, and just best wishes to you and your family. Any other regents? President Griffith, please.
Excuse me, I hadn't quite finished, but I wanted to make you aware that in the audience today, we also have a longtime employee of the university who's about to retire. That is Dean Doreen Bennett. She is the Dean of our College of Business and Information Systems. She has over 39 years of experience here at DSU, starting off obviously as a teacher. She has championed the whole area of health information technology, health information management, health informatics, an outstanding program at the master's level. The informatics program is recognized. And we're so grateful for the time that she's spent with us. She's been Dean since we created the Beacon College, and then we had a College of Business and Information Systems, so she has been involved. So we're really, really grateful for all her efforts, and we wish her well as she goes forward into retirement. So please.
Thank you. I'm so glad you did that. Dean, please stand up so we can recognize you. Where are you? Don't hide. Where are you at? Oh, she snuck out. Well, let's give Dean a big round of applause. You can't be sneaky and get out of here. All right. Any other reports from any of the other presidents? Seeing no one. I thought Dr. Elliott was going to get up there for a minute. He was kind of...
I was thinking about it.
All right, let's move on to reports of individual regent activities. Any reports? Regent Partridge, did you have something?
Thank you, President Rave. I wanted just to report on the fact that we are actively engaged in evaluating and looking towards the future with our IT within the Board of Regents and our central office. Most of that is the Region Information Systems. And we're not only evaluating really the applications and the hardware and all the different things that go into, running technology, but we're also looking at the structure of it and figuring out what is best for this system. And so we're focused on that. We're spending an awful lot of time on it. We've hired an organization to help us really identify what some of our blind spots and weaknesses might be, where we should go in the future. And so we've been spending an awful lot of time. A few of us here have been on that committee working towards, understanding some of the technology that is there, but also then planning for the future. So we're working with an open mind. We have no decisions made yet, but we're really focused on trying to figure out what's the best thing for the Board of Regents systems, all 6 universities, and making them, technologically successful from a, really administration and, just running the organization type thing. So it's a huge project that we've taken on. It's be easy just to kind of shut the light off and walk away from it, because that's the easy job, but it's not the right job, and we're really focused on what we should do into the future. So anyway, we're spending a lot of time on that.
Good, thank you. Regent Fredericks.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, obviously, the biggest thing I was involved in was the presidential search, and I'd like to thank both Regents Beacom and Dittman. They were on that committee also, and you learn so much about the university when you do a presidential search. It isn't just about the people coming in. You get to know about the needs, and DSU and the community of Madison is such a strong community, and whether you're talking about the foundation or the faculty or the non-faculty employees and the students, the 2 students that we had, Angelina and Odin, just fantastic young people. I feel safe with the world in their hands. But with that, I think we had a very successful search, and I'd like to thank everybody that was involved in it, and President Dunn, you were the resident, president helping out with that search also. And so I think we did the right thing in the end, so thank you all.
And again, thank all of you for your hard work. Those are long days, and many of those are in many meetings, so thank you. Regent Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was involved in the legislative committee that the Board of Regents has established over the last many years, and that committee meets weekly on the phone. It's a phone call. And staff looks through every bill that comes to session and makes a decision about whether or not they should bring it to us to determine we should take action for amending or talking to the sponsors if it has any impact for Board of Regents institutions. And I'm very impressed with the way the staff, they are on the ball, they're ready to roll. The things they brought to us were the important things that we needed to see, and the direction they took from the committee to go and figure out how to handle the legislation was great. I've been involved in legislation for many years, and it's not easy to go to a sponsor of a bill and say, we're worried about the impact, we don't like this. Usually they say, well, let's see what comes, how it goes through during the debate, and then we'll amend it if it looks like it's not rolling. Our staff could go and get things amended, get us out and to fix things for us ahead of time. That's very unique. It's great, and it speaks well to the system. It speaks well to our staff. I just wanted to acknowledge all the hard work that they did during the session and all the good work they did for the system.
Well said, Regent Roberts, and I will just pile on a little bit because in my real life job, I spend every day at session in a different capacity, but I see Liza and Nate and the team in the halls every day, and I think I associate myself with everything that Regent Roberts said about how proud I am of the hard work they've done, and it shows. We had a great legislative session in light of some, financial challenges at the state level and a lot of policy things, dust in the air. And I think I would also at this time recognize all 6 presidents and all of your campuses and staff, because it's it's only because of you we are held in such high regard by the legislature. You know, they see the way you operate in a transparent and thoughtful way, and that translates to success for us as a system. You know, at the state level, the legislative level, and all boats rise when we all do good. So I would have been remiss not recognizing all of you, and I mean literally every person on the campuses that are putting their nose to the grindstone, working hard every day, because it makes a difference, and it made a huge difference this year. And I know if we let Liza up here, we're never getting her off the mic, but she would attest to the fact that that made her life a lot easier, working the halls every day. So any further reports from any other presidents? Oh, regents. Regent Peterson, good grief.
Thank you, Mr. President. A few activities I'd like to share with you all this morning that I took in the interim. First, I had the opportunity to participate in the South Dakota School of Mines fall commencement ceremony back in December. That was my first official ceremony where I was representing the board and had a great experience. So I'd just like to very quickly say thank you to President Tandy and his team for their hospitality and for hosting me. I really enjoyed celebrating your fall class of 2025, who I'm sure are all going out and doing amazing things with their degrees and their education at Mines. And secondly, I'd like to report that I had the opportunity to attend the Students for Higher Education Day activities hosted by the South Dakota Student Federation. And that was a day that I had participated in as a member of the South Dakota Student Government, or University of South Dakota Student Government Association Senator, back in my earlier undergrad years, and so being there as a regent was a very unique experience, and really appreciated the opportunity to engage with all of our campus leaders at that under the dome of the South Dakota Capitol. So really appreciate their continued hard work and dedication to their respective student bodies.
Anyone else? Thank you for reminding me of that. I did also have the opportunity to speak to Shed and the students out in Pierre as well. Had a great experience and a great evening with them for just a little bit. So that was probably the biggest thing I did. Any other reports from any regions? All right, seeing none, I think we're down to the executive director report. Nate.
Well, good morning and welcome, and thanks to everybody at Dakota State for being our gracious hosts again. It's always fun to be on the campus at Dakota State, although in the last few months I've had plenty of opportunities. I kind of feel like I should have got a second apartment or something here to pass the time with the search and everything going on. But no, it's been great. You know, as you've heard from a number of the regents, certainly a lot of things going on. Much has happened since the December meeting, from some of our projects to legislative session, and a lot of great things, but I won't replicate what they've said unnecessarily. You know, I did want to give a shout out regarding the search, and one, you know, very excited for Dr. Ballard to be coming on campus and looking forward to the transition and new leadership, and again would echo some of the earlier comments of, you know, gratitude and thanks for President Griffiths and her leadership and all that Dakota State's been able to accomplish, and looking forward to seeing what the next chapter of Dakota State looks like. And then I also wanted to thank not only the search committee, we ask a lot of you and it's a lot of work, and I see a few of you out here, but also all of the logistics experts that pull off what is the magic act of having 3 finalists on campus for 2 days, ushering them around all of the different sessions. So whether it's, you know, Miranda and her team or Katie and Kayla, what they do is truly amazing, and it never fails. After every search, we get multiple comments on how professional it was and can't believe how well you did that. So kudos to everybody. It was a huge success. You know, it's hard to believe we're in April already, which means that by the time we convene again, we will have had another round of graduations and sent students out into the workforce, and that means finals are also coming up, and that's a strain for students, faculty, staff. So just want to say good luck to all of the students that are preparing for finals, whether it's freshman, sophomore, junior, or those that are preparing for graduation, and as well as faculty and staff for all the work that they have ahead of them. And then in closing, I wanted to take a note. You know, the April meeting is always the transition of leadership from a board standpoint, and I just wanted to take a minute to thank President Rave for his leadership. Now, obviously, he's still going to be here as a regent, but he served as president for 3 years, which is a little bit unusual, usually just a 2-year term, but he stepped up with some of the transition and board members and was willing to serve an extra year. And, you know, we've endured and accomplished a great deal under his leadership. the board, the system, and its campuses are stronger because of him. You know, I won't try to list an exhaustive things of what he's accomplished, but when I just think quickly of, you know, what we've done under his leadership, you know, things like strengthening legislative relations comes to mind, not to mention hiring 4 university presidents. I mean, you talk about leaving your mark and setting the course for the system going forward, as well as, you know, I think really strengthening and enhancing our engagement with students, you know, through student fed, through student government leadership. And there's been a lot more, but just wanted to take a minute to say thank you to President Rave. You know, you've certainly built on a strong foundation from past presidents, and you've set the system up for success going forward, and looking forward to the next transition and new leadership and seeing where it takes the system. But thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's certainly been an honor, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed it. And much like Regent Frederick said, doing this, sitting in this chair, you get to learn about all the campuses all the time. In fact, Nate and I don't know what I'm going to do because we won't text every day or talk every day multiple times. But Nate would be remiss he missed one thing that we accomplished while I was sitting in this chair, and that's him. You know, Nate makes this job easy, and I know that the rest of the exec committee would say that same thing. And we hired Nate when I first started, and Nate and I believe, have become very good friends because of that, more because I talked to him than I talked to my wife. But it's not even a joke, I don't think. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun. I look forward to going back and just trying to focus on my real job a little bit more and hand the reins over to Regent Partridge here. So with that, thank you, and thank you, Nate, for all you've done to make the job easy, and also Katie, sitting to the right there, who's quiet and never wants to be recognized, she babysits all of us. So that is a big job anyway, but thank you both for making the job easy. So, all right, time for Student Federation. Looks like Jacob and Sam show is coming up. You guys got 2 minutes. I got to get after it, so.
Make that 3. All right. President Rave, regents, regent staff, good morning. Thank you, outgoing DSU President Griffiths, and the incoming president as well as DSU staff, and Protei Oden, as well as Tyler Sprick, the student body president and vice president, for hosting us today. I really appreciate your hospitality. So I know that most people probably in this room know Jake and I and know who we are. We've spent the year shaking hands and kissing babies as students, so it's been a blast. But if you don't know me, I'm Sam Brumfield, the executive director of the Student Federation, a biochem student at Northern State.
And I am Jacob Vostad, a senior chemical engineering student at South Dakota Mines. Go Hard Rockers.
So he is the brains of the operation, obviously. And Bailey, our president, is not here today. She is in Ohio, but we wish her the best over in Ohio. So I've been in this role for about a year now, working on behalf of student representation. But I've been doing that student representation as a whole for about 3.5 years. And over that period of time, I've gained quite a bit of experience in this role and in these roles. Some of those moments I'm not going to ever forget, and they're going to stick with me forever. And that's a great thing. And I'd quickly like to share one of those moments that has meant a lot to me. And there had been a time where I was kind of down and a lot of things weren't really going my way. Things were kind of crumbling, I would say, at the seams, if you will. I was walking down the hall one day and kind of dragging my heels. My head was hung low, and I was in defeat. And all of a sudden, a man larger than life appears next to me. And he patted me on the back and he said, "Son, I can tell you're down. I can tell that something's not going your way. But despite all of those things, despite everything going south, no matter what, there's one thing that won't ever turn its back on you. There's one thing you can always rely on, no matter what. And you can always rely on Partridge Financial." And then he gave me a business card. He gave me a business card and walked away, and I'll never forget that moment.
I've had the same experience.
I'll never forget it, and I will hold that dearly in my heart for the rest of my life. I'm going to have you sign that business card before the day's over. No, but there have been a lot of experiences that have meant a lot to me. And alas, today is the last executive director report that I will give at the Student Federation, and that is all right. And when I can tell you that this whole ordeal has meant a lot, I mean it. It's been one of the best experiences of my life, hopefully of our lives. I don't mean that it was perfect, right? I don't mean that it was always super fun. Sometimes it was gritty, and sometimes it honestly sucked. We've put a lot of work into this, and it hasn't all gone right. But I do know that every single moment, every single success, every single failure was worth it. It was worth the knowledge. It was worth the experience. And I would love, like I said, to say everything went as planned. It didn't. It never does, as you all know. And many things went totally wrong, but those successes and those failures, in my humble opinion, are both equal, because learning is learning no matter what. And so, with that being said, I would like to also share with you some of the successes and not the failures that we've had and we've gotten to undertake this year. And I'll start with my Vice President giving a small SHED report on what we did at SHED.
Okay, well, thank you, Executive Director Brumfield, and thank you, Board of Regents staff and faculty, students for being here. Later in January, we had the opportunity to go to Pure for our Students for Higher Education Day, as Regent Peterson mentioned. It was wonderful to have him and you, President Rave, there, and just the support of the board as we endeavored up to Pure for a legislative session. This year's SHED was extraordinary. In previous years, we do our typical thing of lobbying and reaching out to legislators, but we had an idea that started way back in September. I believe we talked with Regent Partridge about it way at the beginning. And I said, what if? I'm a big guy of what ifs, right? I talked with Regent Dittman about it as well. I remember that back in May. And I said, what if we got the governor to talk to Student Federation and his team? And that's a tall order. You know, that's a jumbo-sized glass of milk. And I said, but what if? And so we pressed and we pressed and we pressed on. And there was times that we thought that it wouldn't happen. There's times that we thought it would, and we were trying to figure out where we're pulling monies from where and who's all coming. And you know what? We got it. And within about a week, in the first week of January, right after the new year had commenced, everything fell into line. The stars aligned, and I said, Sam, I think it's going to work. And so we ended up hosting the first annual Governor's Gala, and that was held in the Capitol Rotunda. It was a beautiful environment. They set up tables and chairs and a podium. We had Governor Roden, Lieutenant Governor Van Huysen, Secretary of State Monet Johnson, and Stephanie Judson from the South Dakota Community Foundation. And it was just a beautiful experience, wonderful time to get to visit with them, to get to share the importance of higher education with them, and the importance of their support for higher education, as we know that that has dwindled in different capacities across the state for a number of years. And so it was just a wonderful experience to be able to share that and hear their thoughts and inputs on how they plan to continue to support higher education. The next day we hosted a breakfast for legislators in Pierre, which was wonderful. Got to visit with them and lobbied around on different positions, attended committee meetings, and just got to have some excellent networking at the state capitol. It was a tremendous experience. I will say it was the biggest, it was the best SHED yet, believe me. And we look forward to it continuing. We look forward to the next leadership to continue that success and hopefully make it bigger and better than it was this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Yeah, he was the brains behind the whole operation, so I had to give him a round of applause for that. Furthermore, after SHED, this half of the year, we actually yesterday met with Senator Thune here on campus, kind of on the down low, and he came and talked to us for about an hour and answered a bunch of questions and asked us questions as well, and that was quite an honor to have him here. We've also obviously had students on the student and Regenta-wide Housing and Meal Plan Work Group, and recently the Student Billing Work Group. We've also obviously led those conversations about scholarships and talked to Stephanie about those scholarships as well, led them with you guys and some legislators, as you know. And after that, we recently developed a pretty large and comprehensive bylaw reform package, and we've been working through that. We got a new logo as well. I'll have to you'll see that next year. We proposed, as you know, yesterday a new funding model for the South Dakota Student Federation, and I will not dive too deeply into that, as nothing official has come from it yet, but that we're very excited about continuing that conversation with you and for the next set of leaders. And we have also initiated the first ever cross-state federation collaboration with North Dakota and Minnesota. And so that is in the very much premature idea model, but they're very, very excited to collab with the South Dakota Student Federation on a larger scale. And so those are some of our successes that we've had just in this second half of the year. And so we're very proud of those, and as you can tell, our team, my board, and I have been extremely busy this year, and we firmly believe that we have represented the South Dakota student body in its full and in its whole. But we cannot wait to pass down the torch to the next generation. And so, as you know, there are obviously big changes ahead of us, but I do have faith that our next leaders and our next generation of students will weather that storm, and as always, as the South Dakota student fashion, they'll come out on top. So thank you all. Thank you very much. And this has all meant a lot to me. God bless.
Well, thank you both for your service. And obviously, the Senator Thune visit isn't as big a secret anymore as it was before since we're on the internet. But that was a joke. So thank both of you. You guys done an outstanding job. It's been fun, at least from my position. I know the regents really enjoy working with you guys and hearing from the students and learning from the students the challenges that you face and the opportunities for us to work together. So thank you guys for your service. It's been great getting to know you. You'll have good financial advice the way it sounds going forward. And so again, any other regents want to make any comments? Go ahead, Regent Partridge.
Thank you, President Rave. Sam and Jacob, you guys have been an absolute delight to work with, and we're just very proud of your accomplishments and what you've been able to do. President Rave's leadership has helped us engage with students more, but you really have helped quite a bit. And so we thank you for that. Sam, you talked about plans. We talk often the time about plan as a verb. And when plan is a verb, your best days are always ahead of you. And I think your best days are ahead of you because you guys have done a great job with this experience, but you've got a lot of really cool experiences coming down the pike for you in life. And we're just excited to hear and stay in touch if you would, because we'd like to hear what you're doing and the future success that you're most assuredly going to have. Thank you both.
All right, any other comments? All right, seeing none. Thank you. Great report and great job, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're down to reports from DSU Student Senate. Odin Tyler, anybody here? Oh, there he is. Come on. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, green, yep. Green light on, you're good to go.
All right, good
There you
morning,
go.
Regents. I can't say I've prepared a bit of beautiful prose as my colleague Sam has, but I am nevertheless grateful to host all of you on DSU's beautiful campus. All right, I'm just going to get straight into the report. We announced at our meeting at the Capitol for SHED that Dakota State has begun working on a full rewrite of its constitution for the Student Association Senate. We are finally in the end stages of this rewrite. We are just putting together the last couple bylaws, the last couple read-throughs, and we intend to have it through by the end of the semester. This will also bring a large-scale restructuring of the Senate, expanding it, adding more representation for more groups of students that we feel need to be represented before the university and before the Board of Regents. We have introduced a club presidents committee to more thoroughly standardize and centralize communication and collaboration between clubs, between the Senate and between the administration of Dakota State, which has also served as a massive data gathering point for club activities in general on DSU's campus. 3 new clubs have joined us this semester, one of which is already active, 2 of which are in the application process. We were very, very grateful for the opportunity to attend this year's monumental SHED experience in Pierce, South Dakota. The Student Federation representatives have already given plenty of information on that. We are looking at a couple of proposed changes to our GAF system. It is still in the very early phases of data collection, so we have nothing to report in terms of our actual plan. That will likely be something handled by whoever I end up passing the vice presidential torch to. We are working very closely with the Student Federation on some new legislation for the Student Federation. I believe Sam mentioned the bylaw amendment and resolution package that we have had in the works for quite some time now. Our elections are coming up. We are beginning to talk through the timeline of this, and soon we're going to see who we pass the torch to. It's an exciting time. The final announcement that I have is that our upcoming GAF allocation process is finally beginning after a lot of deliberation. So we are getting tons and tons of funding requests, which we will be happy to look through and allocate some of the general activity fee to. So that concludes our report for Dakota State University's Student Association Center.
Well, that's a great report. Any questions? Nice job. Well done. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming up. All right, it's that time of the Regental meeting for public comment. Now is the time for designated public comment pursuant to SDCL 1-25-1. We will allot 2 minutes for public comment, with individuals limited to 2 minutes for their comments. If any commenter is not able to complete their intended comments in the time allotted, they may submit additional comments or supporting documentation to info@sdbor.edu. We ask that commenters please avoid providing repetitive comments or information where possible and observe a respectful tone and dialogue. That being said, is there anyone in the room that wishes to address the Regents? Anyone in the room? Public comment? No, Liza, you can't talk. Anyone else but Liza want to talk in the room? All right, seeing none. Tyler, is there anybody online, Tyler?
For anyone joining online by Zoom, if you would like to speak, please click the raise hand icon located at the bottom of your screen.
Anybody online? Doesn't look like it. You seen anybody, kid?
No, I think you're good to go.
Okay, all right. Public comment is now closed. Bringing us down to the consent agenda. Are there any questions on the consent agenda? Any questions?
I do have one.
Well, we have one. Regent Partridge.
Maybe this is a Dr. Minder question. The School of Mines having a Master of Engineering, don't they already have a Master of Engineering? What are we approving here?
Good morning, Dr. Minder.
Good morning, Janice Minder with the Board of Regents. I've asked President Tandy to come up because I think he could probably present this in a way that would answer your questions.
Thank you.
Good morning, President Tandy.
Good morning. So yeah, we want to restart this Masters of Engineering program in a different mode. It's going to be an experiential-based, work-based model where students who are working professionals want to come and earn a master's degree will be able to do it in a way where they can get credit for projects that they're working on as part of their employment. So it's a different look to a Masters of Engineering program, and one of the specialties will be in systems engineering. So.
Thank you. Nothing further question-wise. Thank you.
That's your love language, isn't it? Innovation. Well said. Thank you, Dr. Tandy. All right, any other questions on the consent agenda? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the consent, I have to have a motion, don't I? Yep. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Regent Dittman and Roberts, second. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? It is approved. All right. Looks like we're down to Regent Dittman, Academic and Student Affairs.
Thank you. We have Dr. Minder with us to talk about some revisions to BOR policies 2.92, 3.41, and 3.81. Dr. Minder.
Yes, thank you. We have revisions to Board Policy 292, 341, and 38, and a proposed new policy 353. The policy package that you see before you today was brought back in July of 2025. And since that time, we've had the ability to vet additional stakeholder groups, including our legal counsel from Board of Regents, USD, and SDSU, to talk through the implementations of the proposed changes from July. There are some minor changes in this policy. I brought it back to the public because it has been some time since we last presented it. Again, none of the policy changes are substantive. It does not necessarily change how we currently implement and or work through student code of conduct. It's really revisions to the policy to make sure we're in compliance still with state and federal laws. So you'll see some definitional sections that were added, but by and large, it was really to clarify these policy revisions did come from the student code of conduct officers asking us just to revisit it and review. And today before you, you'll see your second reading without substantive change. All the changes were embedded in the policy highlighted in yellow. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for Dr. Minder? All right, Regent Dittman, back to you.
Okay. I move to approve the second and final reading of the proposed revisions to BOR policies 2.92, academic misconduct, 3.41, student code of conduct, and 3.81, recognition and funding of student organizations, and proposed new BOR policy 3.53, alcohol amnesty, as presented.
Haven't been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of that motion will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Next, we have again Dr. Minder to again discuss revisions to BOR policy 2.32.
Great, thank you. In December, around the Board of Regents meeting, AAC, as our Academic Affairs Council, met with Committee A of the Board of Regents, and we had a great discussion around how to become more nimble when we're looking at marketing new programs. And in doing so, getting it to market per se, or getting it out to the students so that they can begin their process or pathway to their career. And in doing so, in that conversation, we talked about removing one step of our new program proposal process, and that is in the intent to plan. At that meeting, then, we worked through the changes that you see before you today to remove that step. We also then met with Committee A prior to the Board of Regents today and talked through it in addition to make sure we were consistent with what the thought was back from December. So what you see before you today is a first draft, and that is to remove one step out of our new program proposal. The campuses will follow the initiate and then do the full proposal. And again, we'll work through any changes prior to the next board meeting with Committee A as well. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Great. Any questions for Dr. Minder? Hearing none. Regent Dittman?
The only question I had for Dr. Minder when she visited with AAC was if there were any physical cartwheels by the members of AAC as this was talked about.
Yeah.
She said no. I move to approve the first reading of the proposed revisions to BOR policy 2.32, new programs, program modifications, and inactivation termination as presented.
Is there a second? Having been moved and seconded, all those in favor, any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. It looks like we're trading places there, Regent Dittman.
We are. We have revisions to BOR policies 4.4.5 and 4.31. This is the first reading. Dr. Hackemer and Vice President Kreisch and Kayla.
Come on, Kayla.
You coming? Your name's on my list.
Good morning, all of you.
Yep, good morning. Julie Creek, University of South Dakota. We are here presenting. I Item 6C, which is the first reading of proposed revisions to BOR Policy 4.4.5, Faculty Compensation, and 4.3.1, Non-Faculty Exempt Employment Provisions. These revisions represent months of coordinated work in a system-wide effort to align compensation practices with higher ed market standards, strengthen equity and transparency, and provide clear guardrails that support both fiscal responsibility and operational flexibility. For a little bit of background and context, beginning in the fall of 25 academic year, the Supplemental Duties and Instructional Cost Assessment Advisory Committee began meeting as part of the board's statewide academic policy initiative. The committee's charge was to review supplemental and overload compensation practices across the system, including instructional overload, summer teaching, administrative stipends, adjunct and temporary faculty pay, and other additional duty compensations. Areas that can significantly affect equity, consistency, financial sustainability, and market competitiveness. To date, the committee's primary focus has been on adjunct pay and recommended revisions to policies 4.4.5 and 4.3.1. Throughout the process, the goal has been to apply market-based best practices while respecting the institutional differences by mission, discipline, and market conditions. The policies have been reviewed by the Council of Presidents, Academic Affairs, Business Affairs Council, Human Resource Leadership, the Workload Committee, and the Board Office Leadership. In addition, Board Office Leadership and University Administration met with Faculty Senate leadership at each institution, and committee members have been communicated these recommendations with deans, department heads, discipline councils, and other impacted stakeholders. It will continue to be a collaborative and iterative process. We first focused on our adjunct and temporary rates of pay, with respect to those, the committee evaluated internal structures and market comparisons, and the recommendation at this time is to continue with institution-specific pay structures, recognizing that discipline mix and labor markets differ significantly across the campuses. Keeping in mind that we would like the campuses to continue to work with human resources and academic affairs to monitor those structures against peer data and ensure that we remain competitive and those rates are appropriate. And this approach balances market responsiveness with fiscal oversight. So moving on to the key revisions for policy 4.4.5, faculty compensation. The proposed revisions to this policy focus on strengthening the clarity of the policy, consistency, and accountability around instructional overload and supplemental compensation. Key elements include clearer definitions to distinguish instructional overload for credit-bearing assignment from non-instructional credit-bearing instructional overload and non-instructional supplemental compensation. We created definitions for eligibility for overload compensation, limiting faculty holding administrative titles with decision-making authority over scheduling, resource allocation, and workloads, identifying them as ineligible for overload unless explicitly authorized by the president when no conflict of interest exists. We've created some compensation caps so that overload and supplemental during the base contract year cannot exceed 25% of the base salary. We are requiring now workload review that if a faculty member is assigned overload in 2 consecutive contract terms, an administrative review of departmental workload, staffing, credit hour generation, and scheduling is required. We added monitoring for financial viability. Instructional overload should not be assigned for courses that would result in financial loss unless approved by the president. We added flexibility for non-credit-bearing instruction, allowing institutions to use lower rates for non-credit-bearing instruction, such as professional development courses for industry partners. And we added limits on non-instructional supplemental pay, that it must be reserved for duties that fall substantially outside of the normal expectations. And then moving on to the key policy changes for 4.3.1, non-faculty exempt. These revisions were to align NFE instructional compensation and workload expectations with the faculty framework, ensuring consistency and reducing conflicts of interest. We set overload eligibility and restrictions that NFE may teach courses with appropriate approvals but not be assigned overload if it interferes with primary responsibility. Also, as with the faculty policy, if there are 2 consecutive terms of instructional overload, triggers an administrative review of departmental workload, staffing, credit hour generation, and scheduling, and a compensation alignment when eligible, compensation for NFE instructional work should be comparable to temporary faculty adjunct rates of pay. And then finally added some restriction for administrators. Administrators and employees with direct decision-making authority over scheduling and workload are ineligible for instructional overload compensation, and that includes the deanships and the vice presidents. So collectively, these changes are intended to improve the transparency, reduce real or perceived conflicts of interest, and ensure consistencies in the application across the system and maintaining flexibility. So this is the first reading of the policy, and we'll continue to gather feedback and make refinements along the way. And with that, I'll.
Excellent. We have a question. Regent Lochner.
No, question. I had the pleasure of being on that committee, and we had, I don't know how many meetings, it seemed like every week for the last, but I really appreciate the effort, the detail. It impressed me with, and I won't name them all, some of them are here, the attention to detail, roll up your sleeves and chase it and keep refining it for clarity. And so I really appreciated the involvement, but I really want to thank all of you involved in the committee, because it may seem like a fairly simple task, but it was not. It was a lot of wordsmithing and a lot of thought, and I know a lot of effort that everybody went through, and they kept it on task, so I appreciate it. And thanks for letting me be involved and listening.
Well said. Thank you, Regent Lochner. Nice job, you guys. Any other questions or comments?
I don't have a question, but I want to also thank you because I'm on the other committee. And so I do know how much work and time and effort these kinds of projects take. So thank you to everyone who served on the committee, and Regent Lochner, thank you for your services on it as well. Great work. Great work. So with that said, I move to approve the first reading of the proposed revisions to BOR policies 4.3.1 non-faculty exempt employment provisions and 4.4.5 faculty compensation as shown in attachments 1 and 2.
Have been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Regent Dittman, are you done?
I run a tight ship.
Well done.
I don't doubt that.
All right, sounds we're on to budget finance. Regent Lochner.
Okay, I'd like to have Heather, who will do the reading, and I'll grind through a whole bunch of motions. And if we need discussion, interrupt, and if not, we'll just go through it.
Good morning, Heather.
Good morning, Regent Lochner, members of the board, Heather Forney, Vice President for Finance and Administration. Luckily, the first few items are real easy and we don't have any motions, so we can just whip through those. 7A is a summary of the fiscal year 27 general bill. We've talked a lot already this morning about what I would consider a fairly successful legislative session for the Board of Regents. And so item 7A is just a summary of what happened with the fiscal year 27 general bill. If you would refer to attachment 1, it really summarizes essentially what our ongoing budget would look like, major or minor modifications for lease payments, M&R funding to get us to that 1.25, some post-secondary scholarship, and then some utility adjustments. And this is just, again, for informational purposes. Any questions?
Questions? Keep going.
Right. Item 7B is the amendment to the current year general bill. And I think this is where I would highlight what I consider to be the real successes for the regental system, and would thank the legislature and the governor's office for their support. There's some one-time funding of $16.69 million to get us to that, for one time only, for the first time ever, to that 2% replacement value. And so we're incredibly appreciative for that. You'll see those projects associated with that funding come before you at the next meeting. So the campuses are very excited to get moving forward on that, and it's just very impactful for all of us. So just again, want to thank the legislature and the governor for their support with that. And then kind of a Something that's near and dear to my heart is a one-time $2.75 million for cybersecurity. And we did receive some funding a few years ago to help beef up the cybersecurity for our system. The kind of last-minute addition of this to our budget is, again, incredibly impactful. And I would say not just for our students and our system, but also for the state. Because I don't know that people understand that to be able to hack into or access our systems is also a path directly into the rest of state government's accounting systems. And so this is, I consider it a step forward for us, but also a step forward for the rest of state government. So just very appreciative of their assistance there. And then again, some adjustments for authority and utilities and those kinds of things. Again, I'll stand by if you have any questions.
Well, you guys go ahead and go first. Regent Lochner.
I just really want to make a comment about the maintenance and repair as I've been around the campuses, the attention to detail and the facility upkeep, and I know that doesn't happen, by itself. Just for the record, I believe the facilities and the assets are being very well maintained, and the 2% will keep them that way. And that's a critical piece to keep your assets and your facilities top notch. And, I in my former career, I had 110 plants, and I really love plant tours because you can see a whole lot. And I've never seen a major issue in any of these, with the exception of maybe one time. So, thank you all your staff for their efforts in that. So,
thank you, Regent Lochner. Well said, Regent Partridge.
Thank you, and I also wanted to make a comment regarding the cybersecurity. After years of individual requests and kind of ad hoc type approach to the legislature, I think the unified approach that we have is something extremely worthy related to us going in together. That's how we got the $2.75 million. It was hard work. There's a lot of conversations, a lot of continual requests and firm but constant pressure. Maybe Regent Roberts can share a few other comments about our unified approach, because I think it works. And the cybersecurity is an example of that. Something that you request early, you stick with it, and it's a consistent type of request and ask. So.
Yes, the last few years, I think we have been much more successful when we come as a team, and I think it's really helped the esprit de corps with the presidents and the rest of the system. So I think it's working well. And I just personally wanted to thank, especially Regent Partridge, who I know is talking to our appropriation chairs quite often about the 2.75, yeah. We would not have gotten that without all that hard work, so thank you very much.
Yeah, great team effort. And again, I think maybe just stand by stressing thank you to the governor and to the legislature, along with all of our hard work on this. In a tight fiscal year, I don't think we can stress the importance of how successful we were as a regental system in light of some very heavy headwinds going into January. So great job, everyone. Thank you to the governor and the legislature. Heather, keep going.
All right, item 7C is just a summary of our special appropriations. These were the bills that were campus-specific facility bills. We had the swine wean to finish at SDSU, the athletic facility at USD, the indoor athletic facility here at Dakota State, and the soccer venue at SDSU. Those all passed, and I think in large part because, I can't think it can be said enough, these were privately funded, including ongoing maintenance and repair. There is not an additional general fund dollar that will go into these facilities. And so I think that was also why we were successful with those. I'll stand by for questions.
Any questions for Heather? Seeing none.
All right, 7D, we will need to have a motion on this one.
Okay.
It is the revisions to Board Policy 7.4, and I think I have Dave Overby and Chris Colesrud here, the real technical folks, to pitch it.
Good morning.
Good morning. Chris Colesrud, Chief Technology and Security Officer, Board of Regents. In front of you today, we have a first and proposed final reading for BOR Policy 7.4, Security of Information Technology and Systems. Earlier today on the consent agenda, we had a Board Policy 7.8, which was approved. That is a new data classification policy, and within that data classification policy, there's new terminology. And so this is a proposed revision to this 7.4 policy, which aligns those terminologies. The substantive information within the policy doesn't change, the intent doesn't change. It is purely just to change the terms and align it with BOR policy 7.8. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none. Regent Lochner.
I move to, 1, waive the board's 2 reading requirement, and 2, approve the first and final reading of the proposed revisions to BOR Policy 7.4 as shown in Attachment 1.
Second.
I haven't been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Back to you, Heather.
All right. 7E is the USD Gas and Family Fieldhouse Facility Program Plan, and we have Julie Creek here from USD.
Welcome back, Julie. Probably not the last time we see you today, is it?
All right, Julie Creek, Vice President of Finance Administration for the University of South Dakota. USD is returning to request approval of our facilities program plan for the new Gas and Family Fieldhouse, a 105,000 square foot state-of-the-art indoor facility that will transform training, competition, and student engagement on our campus. As noted in the documentation, the project was authorized during the 2026 legislative session through House Bill 1137, and the Building Committee approved the plan on March 16th, 2026. Today, multiple outdoor sports share the Dakota Dome with football, and during football season, the synthetic turf limits access for track and field, soccer, softball, and tennis, especially during our harsh winter months. The field house directly addresses those constraints by giving our student athletes a dedicated year-round training and competition facility, and it also expands access for intramural and club sports, strengthening overall student experience. Key features are a 200-meter banked track with warm-up lanes, 60-meter straightaway, spaces for long jump, triple jump, high jump, pole vault, and throwing cages, indoor practice areas for sports such as soccer, tennis, and softball. The total project cost is estimated at $40 million, which funding for the project will be from private donations and university funds. No state general funds are utilized for the facility. Annual operating cost, excluding utilities, are estimated at approximately $85,000, and then utilities at $147,000 a year. The operating costs will be funded through USD Athletics Operating Funds, and the utilities will be funded from our university utility allocation. Maintenance and repair for the facility will be supported through a diverse M&R plan, including private donations, facility-generated revenue, and athletics operating budget. This will ensure long-term stewardship and sustainability of the asset. And with that, I'll stand by for questions.
Thank you, Julie. Any questions for Julie? Seeing none.
All right, I move to approve USD's facility program plan for the construction of the Gas and Family Fieldhouse at an estimated cost of $40 million, which will be funded through a combination of private donor contributions and university funds.
Second.
Motion having been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
We have item 7F, which is the SDSU Briggs Library renovation preliminary facility statement, and Barry Milkey is here from SDSU.
Good morning, Barry.
Good morning. Barry Milkey, Associate Vice President, Facilities and Service at SDSU. South Dakota State University seeks approval of the preliminary facility statement to guide the renovations of Briggs Library. Briggs was constructed in 1974. The renovations aim to create a flexible, collaborative environment by consolidating dispersed academic support programs, updating infrastructure, and enhancing accessibility and safety features. Key programmatic features include integrating the Wintrode Student Success and Opportunity Center, Testing Center, Library Help Desk, and a cafe to foster student-focused hub. The project will address deferred maintenance, improve building systems, upgrade the main entrance for better campus connectivity, especially the Jackrabbit Green and the Student Union. Renovation will free up space in other areas of campus by relocating the Testing Center, Wagner Hall, some programs in McFadden, Morrill Hall, and Larson Commons. And those spaces will be backfilled with other services in those buildings. The project supports the 2025 campus master plan by strengthening the campus core, improving pedestrian connectivity, and supporting SDSU's goal to become an R1 research institution. And it emphasizes upgrading existing infrastructure, supporting research expansion, and accommodating growth for graduate enrollment. The estimated cost of the project is $33.5 million, funded through private donations, university funds, bonds, and higher education facilities funds. Planning and design funds of $357,000 will be used for planning, cost analysis, and further project scope and budget refinement. The renovation will occur in multiple phases to minimize disruption with temporary swing space identified in other areas of campus. The project will include upgrades to meet building codes, safety standards, and accessibility to ensure a safe, inclusive environment. I'd be happy to stand for questions.
You bet, thank you. Any questions? Go ahead, Richard Frederick.
I have a question.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The question I have just in general, libraries, are they changing? What is the future of the access to information and why are they needed as much as they used to be? Because not many kids leave their dorm room to access information anymore.
Yes, I would agree that libraries are evolving, and you can see by some of the things we're trying to move into here, it's going to become a more of a student space where there's other things they can access just besides books. Having completed my master's degree about 6 years ago, if I couldn't get the document I needed in a PDF from my home, I probably wasn't going to use it for a reference. There is more of a movement towards that. And as you can see across campus, as we build new buildings and develop spaces with more student spaces within the building, they use more of that. So the library has kind of evolved, and so by moving some of these other student services into that building, it'll reinvigorate that library and get students back in there. And you can see other campuses across the state have done similar projects to reinvigorate their library.
Because certainly this right here has more information on it than the old Lincoln Library when I was down there.
That's true.
Many times over.
Did you ever go to the library?
That was, you threw a softball out there, Regent Frederick.
Yeah, I heard people.
There you go.
Actually, so.
I was going to ask if they had libraries back then, but.
Yeah, I went to school in the 70s. We had them. They were a social center as well as a reference.
Right. Awesome, nice job, thank you, good presentation. Heather, you have a thought? No?
Okay, I move to approve South Dakota State University's preliminary facility statement for the planning of renovations to the Briggs Library, which will be funded through a combination of private donor contributions, university funds, bonds, and higher education facility funds. A building committee representative should be appointed to oversee this project.
Haven't been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of that motion will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
And here comes Julie.
Yep. Item 7C is the USD Auxiliary System Property Acquisition, and Julie was quick on the draw, so she's already here.
Hello again.
Hello.
Julie Creek, Vice President for Finance and Administration, University of South Dakota. USD is requesting authority for its auxiliary system to, specifically the housing, to acquire 5 residential properties from the USD Foundation using our revenue system funds. These properties are located at 202, 204, 208, 214, and 304 East Cherry Street in Vermillion. All 5 properties are directly adjacent to the USD campus just north of our law school, and with these acquisitions, USD will own all of the residential properties along Cherry Street between Dakota and Rose. These 5 properties will join 3 that we already own in that corridor, so completing a longstanding priority to have that corridor in our campus master planning. This area was one of our highest priority, highest importance zones in the acquisition plan because it does connect our main campus to USD housing and athletic facilities. The foundation acquired these properties on the university's behalf, 4 of them in 2022 and 1 of them in 2024, specifically to support our long-term strategy. These acquisitions are in accordance with applicable laws and Board Policy 6.2 regarding acquisition of real property, as well as in accordance with our long-range property acquisition plan and with the Foundation's property acquisition plan. The combined properties appraised for just under $1.2 million. USD will acquire them for $982,000 plus applicable closing cost. And with that, I will stand by for questions.
Thank you, Julie. Any questions? No? All right. Oh,
This was an item that we had tabled the last meeting, and Regent Rasmussen and I did have a thorough review by the USD staff and president and Julie, et cetera. And after we reviewed it, we brought it back forward. So just
Thank you.
to emphasize the process. I move to authorize the University of South Dakota to acquire the property described in this item from the USD Foundation, utilizing housing and auxiliary facility funds for the purchase.
Have been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Weird, Julie never left. But joined with friends.
Good morning, everyone. Holly Ferris, General Counsel for the Board of Regents. On item 7H today, since the announcement of the relocation of Pillar 1 of the School of Medicine programming to Sioux Falls, USD and Sanford Health have engaged in many constructive conversations about how to undertake that move. There are obviously many stages and pieces that will go into that, and so it was conceived that this memorandum of understanding would be useful to the parties, to the board, and to any other external stakeholders in laying out some of the broad strokes of the parties' intentions and of the move. I will let President Gestring address some of the specifics, but the points of significance that I would note at this time is that this memorandum of understanding is a roadmap. As mentioned, it does not create binding financial obligations on either party at this time, but rather formalizes their intentions for a fairly complex process that is to come. And the preliminary plans so that when we move towards those more technical agreements, as those are developed, it's done with strong mutual intentions already in place and established. I would draw specifically attention to sections 3 and 4, which is where the most significant plans are laid out regarding development and construction of the necessary education and research facilities. Subsequent sections of the MOA call back to those sections significantly regarding governance, leasing, and the academic and research needs. I will at this time turn it over to the USD personnel for additional information.
President Gestring, welcome.
Thank you, President Gestring, for those listening online. I'm going to request just a little bit of latitude for this particular item and its substantial impact for our state and for medicine in South Dakota. 50 years ago, South Dakota leaders reimagined medical education, transitioning USD's medical education program from a 2-year to a 4-year medical school. That decision dramatically improved the future of medicine in South Dakota's physician workforce, raised the state's physician to patient ranking, and strengthened care for both urban and rural communities. We stood at a similar inflection point in August of last year, and we made a decision for the next 50 years, perhaps even the next century and beyond. Modern medical education now pairs preclinical biomedical science with clinical experience from day one. And South Dakota's health systems are hubs for patient care, translational research, and workforce training. To align with contemporary best practice, improve student experience, and grow research that directly benefits South Dakotans, the decision was made to relocate Pillar 1 of the MD program from Vermillion to Sioux Falls. That decision improves student experience, medical education, it supports workforce retention, and as an ancillary, I can't even say that word this morning, I apologize for that, benefit, solves facilities challenges on the Vermillion campus by enabling the strategic backfill of the Lee Medicine facility and removal of an unsalvageable building, Akeley Lawrence, providing significant new opportunities to grow STEM programs on the Vermillion campus. That transformational decision benefits our students, our communities, and our state, and I thank you for that. The decision initially involved a transitional phase to last an estimated 7 years, with a permanent home in Sioux Falls to be identified at the end of that transitional phase. I'm pleased to present to this board that because of the overwhelming support, energy, and momentum behind that decision in August, our healthcare systems have come together and have each identified permanent solutions allowing USD to bypass that transitional phase for Pillar 1 medical education and have found a cost-effective and accelerated permanent solution and home in Sioux Falls. With approval today, the medical school would bypass the temporary phase of its transition plan, and Sanford Health will provide a permanent and primary facility to house Pillar 1 medical education and the program, as well as the new anatomy lab. And Avera will also provide educational space in Sioux Falls and further opportunities for collaboration. USD's MD program and medical student support services would be housed at Sanford Health's Tally Building, which is adjacent to the medical school's existing facility on the Sanford Health's main Sioux Falls Hospital campus. The building is named after Dr. Robert Tally, who served as dean of the USD Sanford School of Medicine and was the driving force in initially establishing the medical school's presence in Sioux Falls. This location enables the medical school to expand its current footprint in the city and renovate an existing medical facility. USD's medical school has had a presence in Sioux Falls for more than 50 years, including a physical presence in its Health Science Center since 1994. This transition builds upon a long-standing partnership with our health partners in Avera and Sanford Health, both of which have provided support through residency programs and other collaborations. I am incredibly grateful to our medical education partners for accelerating this exciting initiatives, and I ask your approval of the MOA between USD and Sanford Health and authorize USD to proceed with the relocation as stated therein. Thank you.
Thank you, President Gestring. Any questions or remarks, Regent Partridge?
Thanks. I have some ancillary comments.
Ancillarily?
I think this move, I've been a big driver of this move, I think, and a huge champion of it, obviously, and I think it does CRE for me. It improves the clinicals, and the clinical opportunities that the students will get in Sioux Falls will be greatly enhanced. Obviously, driving back and forth to Vermilion is not easy, but I mean, I think the clinical experience that they're going to get with the hospital systems in Sioux Falls and the ability to increase and improve that experience, that those clinicals will be great. Furthermore, research, the research opportunities, recruiting people to Vermilion to be high-end researchers is it's a challenge, and recruiting them to Sioux Falls, I think, will facilitate the opportunity for us to go and really cast a wider net and get, I think, some greater research opportunities in Sioux Falls. So, I mean, that's my second thing. And then thirdly, just the overall experience for the student is going to be better. It's going to be opportunistic. I think we'll keep more of them in the state. I think we'll be able to have just a wonderful, medical school and a medical community that already exists there in Sioux Falls. Two very large systems, obviously, in place there. Ancillary systems in smaller towns, such as Brookings and Huron, but I mean, they can go there too, as well as come on out to Rapid City. We've got Monument out there. So I mean, it's just going to be a really, really great move, though, having the Sanford School of Medicine in Sioux Falls. And I encourage my colleagues here on the Board of Regents to vote for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Partridge. Regent Roberts.
I just wanted to pile on and also congratulate you guys for all your hard work. And this is a big win for the students, the people of South Dakota. And thank you to President Gestring and Sanford and the other health systems who have all been so involved in this. It's wonderful news, and I fully support it.
Thank you. Well said. Regent Beacom.
I also want to say thank you, President Gestring, for continuing to push this. A few of us have met with the senior team at both Avera and Sanford Health, and they're excited about the school moving to Sioux Falls.
And what I've heard is this has been on the table for 30 years, talked about, and it's getting done. And this is an amazing move. It's the right thing to do for the School of Medicine. And I would just ask everyone, if you're turned down for things that you really believe in, don't be afraid to bring back to the table. This is a great move for South Dakota, so thank you.
Yeah, well said. Any further questions?
I better read the motion before somebody changes their mind, right?
Yeah. I just make a final comment before, and I just associate myself with everything that the former regions have said. And again, thank you, President Gestring, for shepherding this through. It was an interesting process, but I think really came to a good resolution in the end, and kind of a testament to making sure if there's a hurdle, just go around it, over it, push it down, whatever. So, well done. All right, Regent Lochner.
Yeah, great job, everybody, on that to bring it home. So I move to approve the memorandum of agreement between the University of South Dakota and Sanford Health in substantially similar form as that set forth in Attachment 1 and authorize USD to proceed as stated therein.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, any further discussion on that motion? Seeing none. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, we're going to pause here just for a second, Regent Lochner. We're going to recognize someone who has really helped to revolutionize public education, higher education in this state. And Regent Beacom, do you have a few remarks, please?
Thank you, President Rave. I have the opportunity to recognize T. Denny Sanford, an individual that was born and raised in Minnesota, but he calls South Dakota his home. And the impact that he's had on higher education, I don't believe has ever been exceeded. And hopefully he's not done with his gifts to higher ed in South Dakota, but let me read this. It is truly my privilege to present this award to T. Denny Sanford in recognition of his revolutionary impact on public higher education in our state and his lasting influence on the next generation. For decades, Denny has demonstrated a simple but profound conviction that opportunity is the greatest gift one generation can give to the next. Through his philanthropy, he has invested in the potential of young people in this state on a scale and with a consistency unmatched by anyone in the nation. His support has strengthened our universities in ways that will echo for generations to come. He has expanded access to higher education for students who might otherwise have been left behind, supporting this effort with over $100 million in need-based scholarship funds. He has fueled innovation in research, cybersecurity, legal and business education, enabling South Dakota's public institutions to compete and lead in a rapidly changing world. He has significantly enhanced the athletic facilities across the state, investing in infrastructure, equipment, and programs to support and cultivate driven athletes and the universities that they represent. His contributions have been vital in initiatives for medical education, making it possible to address the needs of our communities, healthcare systems, and the lives of future medical patients. Because of his generosity, our universities are stronger today, our workforce is stronger, and our state is much stronger as well. The South Dakota Board of Regents express our gratitude to not only for what T. Denny has given, but for what he has inspired a culture of possibility, a commitment to excellence, and a shared understanding that education is the foundation on which South Dakota's future will be built. On behalf of our students, our institutions, and the people of South Dakota, thank you. It is my honor to award Denny in recognition of his outstanding contributions to public higher education in South Dakota. So congratulations, T. Denny Sanford.
Well, thank you, Regent Beacom, and I know Mr. Sanford had hoped to be here today, but wasn't able to get things arranged in his schedule to make it. Did you have further comments, Regent Beacom?
I'll let you go ahead and finish here.
Oh, well, after I'm done talking, the regents and the presidents, I'd like you to all go over here and we're going to take a picture together with the plaque. As soon as we round up a photographer, which may be Katie. Go ahead, Regent Beacom.
I would just add that not only has been throughout education, but in throughout philanthropy in South Dakota, where he has really driven support. He has never believed in just giving something and saying, I'll give 100% of this. He is one that believed in success through numbers. And he would give, usually it's a 50%, and he would say, I want the rest of the state to come through for the other 50%. So it was a result of, we did this, not Denny Sanford did this. And it's so important, but you look at the philanthropy across the state, it has skyrocketed since he started that process. And hopefully that will continue long after him, but that's up to all of us. So thank you.
Thank you. Well said. Regent Partridge.
Thank you, President Raven. Thank you, Regent Beacom, for your words. I've had the opportunity to meet Denny Sanford a few times, and it just every time I meet him, I'm just really engaged with the fact that he is, heartfully dedicated to the next generation and the state of South Dakota. I think he says, aspire to inspire before you expire. And that's really what he's done. He wants to make an impact. It's not just about giving money away. It's about impacting our communities and especially the next generation. So I am inspired by Denny Sanford, have been every time I meet him and visit with him. It's just outstanding, and we are so grateful for his generosity and his impact on the next generation. And Denny, we thank you very much for your gifts, but your heart of just wanting to do things for South Dakota and the future of South Dakota. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further remarks? Well, I would just close. I associate myself strongly with the previous speakers, and thank you, Denny, for all you do for higher education in the state of South Dakota. So with that, we have an award. Let's all just go over here real quick, take a picture, and we'll come back and finish up.
We do regents and presidents, and the presidents. We'll do one with regents first, and then regents and presidents. All of the possible photo ops. Just good? He hasn't gone far. And then we're gonna have to move forward, sideways. One step forward. A little bit more. Just a little bit. I just want to be able to see your face. Let the presidents fall in. Presidents? Presidents want to get one, and then it'll be all ready to go. I'll just take one. You never have too many different photo setups.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, everybody's trickling back in. Go ahead, Heather.
Thank you. Items 7I, 1, and 2 are really kind of jointly connected. These are items that you would typically see on our consent agenda. We've pulled them off for just a little bit more, maybe context information and providing some more details for the general public. But these are capital asset purchases greater than $500,000 are required by board policy to have the board authorize those. And so I do have, once again, the dynamic duo of Chris Colesrud and Dave Overby to do the heavy lift.
Good morning.
Good morning, President Ray, members of the board. My name is David Overby, and I'm Vice President for Information Technology at South Dakota State University and Interim System CIO for the South Dakota Board of Regents. We are here today to talk about two items related to data storage acquisitions. In 2021, the board approved an investment by SDSU in all new data storage systems to support the core technology infrastructure of the university, including offsite disaster recovery. We knew those systems would need to be updated after 5 years, and that is why we are here today with this request. Our first request is to upgrade the data storage systems at SDSU to extend the life of those systems for another 5 years. We'll be updating the system controllers, or what I like to refer to as the brains of those systems, and increasing some additional data storage capacity within that environment. These data storage systems are core infrastructure. Everything connects to them. They provide not only storage, but the platform that our servers, virtualization, and many campus applications rely on to operate reliably. Investing in this storage layer is a direct investment in university uptime and continuity. When storage is modern, resilient, and supported, it reduces the risk of broad service disruptions that can impact instruction, research, and administration. Because storage performance affects every connected system, upgrades translate into faster application response times and improved experience for students, faculty, and staff, especially during peak registrations, learning management, and research computing periods. Finally, making this investment on a planned life cycle avoids emergency replacements, supports predictable budgeting, and helps the university manage rising costs by acting before end of support and before price increases take effect. Our plan was to do this next fiscal year, but the costs of technology are rising significantly right now. 30% we're seeing that, so we know that if we don't make this investment this week, that these costs are going to rise by $1 million after this week. So we're here today to get this approved and get these systems ordered before those price increases take effect. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Colesrud to talk about the Sioux Falls RIS systems.
Yes. Initially, Chris Colesrud, Chief Technology and Security Officer, once again. For the RIS office, my apologies to the board, but initially here I needed to request to change the agenda item itself. So in the agenda item itself, there is a purchase request of $531,628. And if you looked at the attachment associated with the agenda item, the actual total is $561,628. So we were $30,000 off in that typo on the agenda item and the draft motion. And so I'm going to request that today we approve the total cost of $561,628. To speak on behalf of the RIS office, our original purchase was made on the NetApp storage appliance in 2016. To follow up on Dave's points, the guaranteed useful life of storage is usually around 5 years. So in 2022, we worked with SDSU to negotiate with NetApp a significant discount, and we repurposed some of our existing equipment, but our storage drives still exist. So our storage drives at the RIS office are now 10 years old. They are up for replacement. They are no longer going to be supported. Similarly, we were going to do that in fiscal year 27, but because of the rising costs, we are looking for this purchase to happen in fiscal year 26 and asking for your approval today.
With that, we stand for questions.
Thank you very much. Regent Lochner, I guess the question that I would ask you is, did Committee B deal with the old amount or this revised amount?
The old amount. Was made aware of the revision this morning, so.
So I guess my question for maybe Executive Director Lucas can help us with this is that the thought here is that we should probably have that go back to Committee B in order for, adjusting amounts on the fly is not something I'm in favor of.
Well, we can have a quick Committee B meeting.
I'm confused because the amount in our motion is $1.9 million. I didn't have anything to say with 500. So.
Oh, no, that's the second one.
That's the second one. Okay, thank you.
There are two motions here, two documents. And so we could approve the first one and,
Mr. Regent Partridge, if I might just explain a little bit about the situation and why you're actually seeing these today, and based on some of the comments you probably already heard from both Dave and Chris. The increase to these products, can I just have you mute your mic for a second? Thank you. The increase on these products was actually intended to go into effect on April 1st. And we worked and negotiated with the vendor to have them extend the authorization of the rates that you see before you through this board meeting. I don't know that we would get them to agree to the $561,000 for the RIS purchase if we would delay that until your May board meeting. So it would cost us roughly another $100,000 for the delay. If you looked at the attachment, the quote, and so we're not quite sure where the disconnect came between, it truly is just a typo on the cover sheet and the motion. The information that we have from the quote does say $561,000. I think it's an attachment 2. So that information was provided to Committee B. It's just basically a typo.
and that was made aware of the change in the error in the draft. But when we reviewed it under Committee B, we looked at the attachment of 561. So,
I guess I'm glad I pull things off consent every once in a while. I'm not happy about it, but I guess I'll vote for it.
Okay. Further comments or questions? Go ahead, Regent Lochner.
I move to approve South Dakota State University's request to purchase enterprise data storage systems using $1,989,250 in tuition fees and
That's the
recovered
second one.
facilities and administration F&A funds.
Second.
Okay, having been moved and seconded, discussion?
I don't think that's the right motion for what we're talking about here, is it?
Yeah.
There's two.
No, well, they combined them. So now I'll read the motion for the 561,000. They did both discussions.
So just to be clear, go ahead, Heather, explain, please.
Thank you, Regent Rave. There are two separate items. The first one was the purchase at SDSU for the not quite $2 million for their data storage. The second item is the $561,000 for the data storage at RIS. Because they're very interconnected and the negotiations and whatnot happened at the same time, we spoke to them both together, but there will be two separate motions. The first one being the one for SDSU for not quite $2 million, and then the second one be the motion for RIS for the $561,000.
And we are, just to clarify, currently on the motion for 1.9 million and change for the first item, but we've discussed them as a group.
That's correct.
Okay? Okay, and it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Regent Lochner.
Now, the motion for the second one, which is the RIS system. So I move to approve the IRS request to purchase enterprise data storage systems using $561,628 of RIS capital funds.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, discussion on that motion. Seeing none. All those in favor of that motion will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Do we have to do a roll call then or not? No. Motion carries. All right. Back to Heather.
Yep. Item 7J is again an item that is typically seen on our consent agenda. Any changes, so I'll backtrack for just a second and explain that, when we have the allocations to the institutions for maintenance and repair, either through general funds, HEF, or their fee we have them come before the board with a list of projects that they intend to fund with those dollars. Helps you to see and understand that they have a planning purpose that they go through, and they have a priority list for projects to be completed. There are changes that happen, maybe projects that come up unexpectedly. There are funds that become available that maybe are outside of the regular process, so maybe there are donated dollars, or a fund becomes available for loan, those kinds of things. And as long as the amount is under $100,000 for those projects, the president at the university may approve it and to move forward. If it's between $250,000 and $500,000, the executive director can approve any of those changes or additions to the maintenance and repair. And anything over $500,000 comes to you for action. And so that's what you see before you is the list of projects that are over the $500,000, maybe we need to reallocate or redistribute funds that had already been set aside for a project. Maybe we came in under budget on a project and had some funds available so that we can allocate it. It's possible that there was an emergency, so a roof needs to be replaced very quickly, and so that needs to be moved to the top of the list, or funds become available through a loan or whatnot, and they want to apply for that. And so I do have Barry Milkey here from SDSU to talk about their 3 projects that are on the list, and I do also have Julie Creek here to talk about their roof replacement at the USD site. And I don't know if you would like them to address each of those maybe very quickly, or if you would like to address questions, so you.
Why don't we start with a quick overview of each, and then if there's questions, we can dive a little deeper. Barry, go ahead.
Barry Milkey, Associate Vice President, Facilities and Service at SDSU. Our first project on here is a chilled water line upgrade. We're requesting to use $819,000 of general funds for some chilled water upgrades. On our campus, we have 2 chilled water plants. We make that chilled water there, distribute it to buildings, and provides cooling that way. It's a more efficient way for us to do maintenance, more efficient way for us to cool buildings. So this is just an expansion of that system to set us up to connect future buildings as we grow the system. The next one we have up is to replace the lighting in our Sanford Jackrabbit Athletic Complex. That's our indoor practice facility. We request approval to use $700,000 in a federal energy loan to replace the lights. We would be going from, we would be converting them to LED lights, so we would, energy savings there would be significant, and as those lights age, there's maintenance that needs to happen on them, so replacing us reduces some of that maintenance as well. The third project would be a west dining renovation at Hanson Hall. We're requesting to use $1.79 million in auxiliary funds to renovate Hanson Hall West Side Dining. We don't have a whole lot of food service on that side of campus. This will help service those students living on the west side of campus.
That was perfect, thank you. Julie, you want to rip through yours quick?
Yes, Julie Creek, Vice President of Finance and Administration for the University of South Dakota, and USD is requesting to use $1.1 million in existing M&R funds to replace the roof for our Fine Arts Center. We initially had mapped out from FY27 to FY29 some substantial investment in fine arts. However, the recent inspection indicated that we had a more urgent need to replace the roof, and we felt that delaying it to later in the M&R cycle increases the likelihood of water really being advanced now as risk mitigation and cost avoidance. We have some remaining funds. We came to the Regents in December with an emergency roof repair for Churchill Haynes. We had estimated that at $1.5 million. However, once we brought the contractors in, we did not need to replace the insulation and the membranes, saved a lot of money on that project, and so we would just like to roll it into this one and advance replacing the fine arts roof ahead of schedule.
Excellent. Questions for either Barry or Julie? Regent Frederick, then Partridge.
Thank you, Mr. President. For both you folks, especially Mr. Milkey, does this have to do anything with the ESCO contract?
The lighting project does, yes.
The lighting does.
Use the energy, the dollars saved from the energy to pay back that federal loan, yes.
Okay, very good. Yep. And, okay, yours is not, how many other universities are looking at going down the ESCO road? You know, have you done it at USD?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, any plans in the future?
Not that we've discussed yet.
Yet, okay. Right answer, not yet. Thank you.
Okay. Regent Partridge.
Thank you, Mr. President. I guess my question has to do with the Music Museum. There was money allocated from the legislature years ago to renovate that. There was private donations to help with that facility. Now we're replacing the roof. Is that what you're saying?
Thank you for the question. This is for the Warren M. Lee Center for Fine Arts, not
Okay.
the Music Museum.
Okay, thank you. And what's the future of Churchill Haynes?
Well, we are currently in Phase 2 construction. I believe that's scheduled to be completed in 2028.
For replacement of that building?
Well, we're not going to replace Churchill. We're doing a full renovation with some one-time funds that we received last year. We just completed Phase 1 renovation onto Phase 2, and then repairing the roof right now with the resources we secured in December.
Are we thinking about Akeley?
Sorry?
Are we thinking about Akeley, the Akeley Lawrence Science
No,
Center?
no. Thank you.
Okay. Further questions? All right. Seeing none. Go ahead.
I move to approve the requested maintenance and repair projects as described in this item.
I've been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that motion? Seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
That brings us, I believe, to the last item on the agenda, and it should be fairly short. Regent Lochner.
Well, Committee B has decided that we want to table this request for further information at this point, so.
That sounded like a motion. Do I need a second? And having moved and seconded, no discussion on that motion. All those in favor of tabling item K will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Mr. President, bring us home.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Appreciate all of your attendance here today. Thank you very much. I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned.
For all those in attendance, DSU has provided boxed lunches. If you want to grab one on your way out, feel free to.